warm welcome to another Essential Quinn talk. Today my subject is the Russia-Ukraine war, and I'll be giving an update on this, in particular the recent start of the Ukrainian counteroffensive against the Russian forces. Now the FT has provided some very impressive maps and slides, and I'll be using these for my talk to illustrate the force movements and various points. Here on screen we can see the southern and eastern part of Ukraine, the area in pink currently occupied by Russian forces. Now, just to highlight an important point, we have the Dnipro River here and reservoir flowing down to near Kherson, where we have the Kharkov Dam. And the counteroffensive probably started on the 6th of June when this dam was blown, and an area south of this region and Kherson was completely flooded. Now, this dam held back a reservoir which in total was some 140 kilometers north and to the east of the dam itself. And here on screen is a satellite picture of the Kharkov Dam after it was blown. This dam, as said, spans the Dnipro River in southern Ukraine and was breached on the 6th of June, causing immediate flooding. Now, we can speculate whether it was Ukrainian forces or Russian forces who did this. But as I will show you in a minute, there are clear strategic objectives for the Ukrainian counteroffensive to blow this dam and create a major barrier between Russian forces and Ukrainian forces in the south, effectively cutting off the Russians' ability to make their own counteroffensive in this area. So with the dam blown, what we see immediately is some 120 square kilometers of land being flooded. By the next day, that had expanded to some 520 square kilometers. And you can see that this represents a very major defensive barrier, ideally placed when the Ukrainians were going to launch their counteroffensive further north a day or two later. So the region flooded after the blowing of the dam was along this line here, some 520 square kilometers being flooded. And the advantage that this would give to Ukrainians when they launched their offensive further north, it meant that the Russians could not do a counteroffensive along here to pull Ukrainian troops away from defending other areas or attacking other areas. And it's a long stated objective of the Russians to want to move into this region here around Odessa and so totally secure all the seaports under Ukrainian control. Now, as I said, you can speculate whether it was Ukrainians or Russian forces that blew the Kharkov Dam. I would surmise this is a perfect operation for the SAS or the SBS, Special Boat Service of UK forces. This type of operation is right up their street. The men are highly trained, they're very brave, they're very proficient, and I would imagine they would love to get their teeth into an operation like this. But that is pure speculation on my part. We could go down the line that it was the Russians who did it, which seems opposite to their strategic objectives, but nevertheless, some believe that. Now back to our main map. we see that the Russians had spent quite a bit of effort fortifying a front line nearly 1,000 kilometers in this area. But on June the 11th, the Ukrainian forces started their counteroffensive. And we see here that initially 3 villages were taken back, and a short time after, then a further 3 villages. And they are effectively touching with Russian forces across this region of the front line. Then on June the 18th, Ukraine struck a Russian ammunition depot behind the front line in southern Kherson. It's very likely that a British-made Storm Shadow missile was used to make such an accurate attack. And we see here by June the 28th, the Ukrainian counteroffensive had made only modest gains. But Ukraine's defense minister claims this is merely a preview of a much bigger push to come. So there we have our update on the Russia-Ukraine war. The counteroffensive is quite limited at the moment, and the Ukrainians are planning a much bigger push, they say. Now, what effect the loss of the Wagner group will have on Russian forces will be quite interesting. It is claimed that the Wagner group soldiers, some 25 to 28,000 men, were doing most of the heavy fighting in the Ukraine war. It will therefore be interesting to see whether the loss of Wagner to the Russians will blunt their ability to hold this territory or make further advances. Thank you for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again.